All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope everybody out there had a great weekend. Happy MLK Day. MLK Day means some early basketball. Hope you're enjoying some basketball this morning. The Bucks played earlier. Got some OKC, Cavs right now, Clippers, Washington. A whole spread out slate. I would love it if they just went, all right, first game of the day, all day long. Let's just do old school. Let's get some big boy prizes. You know it would fill. People love if you get some big prize out there, full day, any sport, it would fill. They decided to break it up in a million different slates. We got a 4-gamer to talk about for the main slate. But yeah, how you doing today, Matt? How's your weekend?
That's a great call, man. I can't remember ever seeing like a full day during the week NBA slate like that. Not that there are often day games, but that would be a ton of fun. And to your point, it would definitely
COVID maybe. The bubble. Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
Ton of fun. Amongst other sports that also were a ton of fun. But I'm doing better now, man. I was watching the Cavs just get rolled by OKC, down by double digits at half. What else is new? So happy to be on here, distracted, so don't have to watch them. I've been doing shows for so long. I'm certainly never and not nervous, but because of my internet issues, I have that feeling. But as I told you, got my modem replaced, so we should be good to go.
Yeah, you did say that. 23,000 richer in the showdown streets on Saturday. So congrats to Matt there. Use some of that to upgrade the internet. And I'm kidding. He actually had it upgraded before the show. And because it went out, he had a funny story. The wife was on their ass. They came out. They figured out the problem. You look totally fine. And you have since we've been started talking. So I think you're good to rock. Moving forward, we got Coach Jason Paraby, wins a lot. Buck, Near. Hey, talk about 20K richer. I don't know wins a lot. If it was 25 or 20. I thought it was 20. Maybe I'm undercutting you 5. Regardless, though, monster win in the PGA streets. Been a member for a long time. Met him out here in Arizona. Awesome guy. Always has good things to say in all the chats. Likes to play a lot of sports. So congrats to you. Wins a lot. Such a great win. Very happy to have PGA back. A lot of screenshots in the PGA Discord. Again, you do get projections, ownership, the Stone, Slate plan, some DGen notes. If you want that, has a lot of funny ones in there. Best golf product out there. So while football is winding down, still got obviously on Sunday and then the Super Bowl. Golf is picking up, and we love golf over here. MMA is back this weekend, UFC 324. Really pumped for that. College football, national championship tonight. I mean, a lot of good stuff going on. We'd love to have you at the Nation. You can do a daily pass if you do want to get in for college football and NBA tonight. 5 days can take you throughout the weekend to the weekend as well. Using the code SHIP19, you get $19 for 5 days, SaberSim and the Discord. Monthly, of course, we have you there covered, but we'd love to have you. So many sports going on right now. A lot of big prizes. Yeah, there you go. Wins a lot. Big time, 20K. Bob, 4 games kind of crappy on a day like today. I agree. Should be more, but hey, there's money to be made. Phoenix in here. All we ask from you guys, like button and subscribe button helps us out a ton. Jordan in here as well. Any broad slate overview? A couple big Q tags. Flag, Brunson, Booker, Embiid, PG, Josh Hart, Jalen Green, a lot of big ones that I'm seeing. No PG and Embiid at shoot around too. So any leans on any of those Q tags, any broad slate overview before we go game by game?
Well, fortunately, a few of those are on the 5 p.m. only slate. So it does look like Brunson, all those Knicks guys and Dallas guys look like they're in. Flag, Brunson, and Hart. So if you're playing that slate, I don't think you have too much to worry about, and easily confused. So no issues there. I know that with so many games and so many slates, and when you're looking at injuries, it's kind of all lumped in. So I make that mistake all the time.
Yeah, I just looked at the whole injury report. I read them off. So if you're playing in all this, any of the games that I mentioned, do be aware. The afternoon slate, I believe, starts in 55 minutes. Be on the lookout for that. But all right, it makes it a little easier. We do get the PG and Embiid news right away, though. We have staggered start times. 7 Eastern, 7:30, 8, and at 10 Eastern. We will get that Embiid PG news. Should we kind of talk about it like they're out since they missed shoot around, or do you have a different take on it?
Yeah, no, I think that's the appropriate way to play it. Whenever you've got guys missing shoot around that are questionable, especially someone like Embiid, presume they're going to be out. We can talk about it a little bit both ways, but I think it makes most sense to really discuss them being out. And as far as my like overview of the slate, I think that the PG and Embiid news is big, but mostly, and it kind of stinks because we haven't had a lot of these slates with the late game on an island, but we do tonight, and a lot of ownership, a ton of good plays in that game. So I don't think it's the type of situation where you can just not play guys from that last game. It looks like to me that the best game on the slate by a good amount.
I think that's a perfect broad slate overview. That last game, the Warriors and the Heat, I mean, the Warriors side especially, but the Heat has some intriguing pieces, both of it. You're going to have to be around your computer pretty much all night, or you could just plug in two guys from the first three games and then just check back in later, whoever it may be. I mean, you cannot ignore that late game one bit. Looking at just the totals in it, let's see what we got. 238.5, only 5.5 point favorites. And then looking at some of the injuries in that game, Hero, he's out, so that's a big one. The
Melton's out, which is like not huge, but it matters.
Yeah, I was expecting more when I'm looking at ownership. Do you think some of that, like right now, a lot of projections do have Embiid and PG in? I guess that'll take us right to the first game. We're looking at 6.5 point favorites for Philly, 227.5 total, but that a decent amount of ownership would go to like a Quentin Grimes or an Oubre or Drummond, or is it just, regardless of what this injury news is, Maxies of the world, it's just going to be jammed the late game? What are your thoughts right there? Because I gotta look at projections quick without Embiid, PG, because they're in right now, as you guys can see.
Yeah, so I think that if those guys are out, the Philly guys look really good. I mean, you're talking about a good spot against Indiana. Price tags not adjusted for those guys being out. So first off, I think Maxey is the guy that is going to just boom in ownership and projection. Under 10K, I mean, we've read this book before. He's been phenomenal this season. Certainly when Embiid is out, he plays massive minutes. So I think all of a sudden, and presuming those guys are out, without like a ton of elite spend up options, I mean, only a couple guys over 10K, and those two guys are barely over 10K in Cade and Jaylen Brown. Maxey would all of a sudden leap to become the top spend up option on the slate. The other Philly guys, as you mentioned, Quentin Grimes, VJ Edgecombe. Like Edgecombe's price is up, but it's probably fair for no Embiid and no PG. And then you got the great spot against Indiana. So I would expect all the main Philly guys, their projection and ownership projections to just rise dramatically. Not exactly sure what to do with the center spot, because we talked about it last week on a slate we did. Like Drummond would look really appealing if he's starting at 4,500, but there's certainly no minute security. Would they start Bona? Bona has been in and out of the rotation. I'm not exactly sure what they do there. Certainly we'd have a lot of interest in the starter. The backup would be interesting in tournaments because they're both not appropriately priced for this situation. Great spot. If not amazing, good price tags on everyone. So I think Philly would automatically leap to the top team on the slate, if not at least right there with Golden State.
Yeah, that's a great breakdown. I'm looking at stuff like if they were out. I mean, like you mentioned, Maxey would arguably be the most popular play on the slate, just because you mentioned there is enough value already, and there's no spends. It'd be really Maxey actually might be one of the more popular ones, even if just like Embiid misses. I mean, Maxey would still probably be there if PG played. If PG was out and Embiid was in, and there's no doubt the ownership still goes out. Do you have any lean on it? Like usually when you see both guys miss shoot around and stuff, you just expect that. However, they are 6.5 point favorites against the Pacers. Looking at the Pacers injury report, like really nothing new there. So does that spread tell you that maybe one of them plays?
I don't know, because I think that Indiana's not good. So like Philly being 6.5 point favorites, even with them out, isn't crazy. And the other, wrench to throw into this is I believe Philly's on the front half, and they are on the front half of a back-to-back. So they play Phoenix tomorrow, and Miami's also on the front half of a back-to-back. But Philly's the big one because, I would presume that tomorrow's game, much tighter spread, better team in Phoenix. If they were going to choose, they would choose to have at least, I don't know if they want to play one of them tonight, one of them tomorrow, both of them tomorrow. I have no idea how they're going to play it. Philly's been weird about this in the past. I just really have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, just based on the non-shoot around, Phoenix has been good, and they're still favorites against a bad team like even if they were both to miss, that has to be accounted into the line somehow. That I'm leaning, again, we'll get the news. I'm leaning more so that they probably do just both sit though, and they play tomorrow. And I mean, Maxey, I think Drummond, whoever starts between Drummond and Bona, assuming it is Drummond, he's going to be popular. 4.5K. Bam is a solid center play as well. You could still play both of them, but I do think if we do get Drummond or Bona starting, just beat out period, that will definitely lower some of the ownership in that late game. But Bam specifically, people are going to go to that center position for value. I think you could play Bona over Drummond. I know you guys have been talking about a lot of like the Brook Lopez stuff with his backup. Cisse and Dwight Powell, Rio's talking about, like, you don't just have to jam the starter. Usually they're more popular. And I would expect Drummond to be really popular. So I think, what are your thoughts would be like Bona instead of Drummond? Or do you think you could play them both? I'm not sure I quite want to do that, not sharing any minutes, but yeah, thoughts there.
I don't think I want to play them both because of your point, like they're not sharing the court together. And, you know, I guess to the other side of that, it's a small enough slate and they are cheap enough where, like, I get it. I don't think it seems optimal, but I mean, I don't think it's the worst play in the world.
What about just Bona over?
Over Drummond? No, that's what I was going to get to next. I think it's totally in play in tournaments just because we've seen that, like, Nick Nurse has a short leash with these guys. If one of them isn't playing well and the other one is, like, that guy is going to get more minutes. He's got no allegiance to Drummond, clearly. So, like, I'm totally about it. I think it's risky, and it's not like Bona is guaranteed to get there, but he's cheap. So, cheaper than Drummond. Yeah, I get it. I really just had, it's so weird. It's hard to really know what to do with that situation, but the starter will look good. The backup will look like an interesting tournament pivot. Yeah,
100%. The starter will look good. And Parabai said VJ Edgecombe, he will get some ownership. Quentin Grimes would get some ownership. Kelly Oubre would get some ownership, maybe even Barlow. Like, there's no doubt that the late game, which is popular right now, I think Philly would overtake that as the most popular spot. Anything on the Pacers side?
Yeah, I think the Pacers, kind of the normal guys. Andrew Nembhard's price is down a little bit, so he looks pretty good. Certainly, if we're playing a bunch of Philly guys, it makes sense to have at least some interest in some indie guys. I think Nembhard and Jay Huff, we've seen the ups and the downs with Jay Huff. He had that monster game and then followed it up with a stinker. But again, if he's starting at center, presuming he's starting at center at 4,800 with power forward eligibility, I'm totally cool with it. And if you take Embiid out, you know, less foul trouble risk, easier matchup. So yeah, the Indiana guys start to look better, presuming the Philly guys are out, just because I think it's a closer game.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I agree there. We'll keep it rolling to the next game on the slate. Not nearly as appealing in terms of DFS right now. Phoenix Suns and the Brooklyn Nets. 8.5-point favorites of the Suns. 215.5 total. It could, like I said, right now it doesn't look as good, but Booker and Jalen Green both questionable. And then going to the other side on Brooklyn, no Cam Thomas, no Igor Demon, no Day'Ron Sharp. With all that being said, though, ownership's not, I mean, it's getting a little bit, you can see. I guess I'm not believing as much on some of these guys' ownership, like especially if Philly, the guys are out. Paul George and Embiid, you aren't going to see Claxton nearly this high. Center, people would go to more value. Bam's a spend up, so Claxton would be a lot lower. There'd be like the Oubres of the world. There just would be a lot better Philly value that I think a lot of this would go down. One guy that I don't agree with the ownership at all, I think Tyrese Martin will be a popular value play as of now. Like if all these guys are in. If he's out, I think Philly's maybe a little more popular, but only 3,100 people will go there to get some studs. Do you agree? I guess let's just start there. Like, do you think Brooklyn's going to be as high as projected right now? Talk about, I guess, if the Philly guys are in or out. I don't believe it either way, but if the Philly guys are out, like this ownership's not even looking close to what it is. Break it down then as how you see the ownership is for the game.
No, I agree with you. I think that Brooklyn is going to become less owned than we're projecting either way. Certainly if the Philly guys are out, dramatically so. I think Tyrese Martin, like you mentioned, I mean, 3,100, I don't love it, but I'm never going to argue with a 3,100 guy projected for, 20-ish minutes with the ball in his hand. So I think he looks good. I think that Danny Wolf looks interesting, especially with Day'Ron Sharp out. Could see him play some of that backup 5, and he's getting good run regardless. So he looks intriguing to me. Claxton, he looks better with Sharp out. but his price tag's up to 6,400. I think we have better center options. I don't love the matchup. I think he's in play, and if the ownership, creeps down, he would become more in play in tournaments. But I do think there are better options, to your point, like one of the Philly guys, Bam. There are forwards you can play at center, which on this slate I don't think is crazy. Other guys that aren't getting love. So I personally don't want to play Claxton at a decently high price tag for him at ownership, but I get it. I think Wolf and Martin would be my favorites. Wolf, probably my most favorite, just because I do think Martin gets a good amount of ownership. Although to the other side of that, it's not a slate as we talked about. There's no Jokic, there's no Giannis, only a couple guys over 10K. A lot of good mid-tier plays on this slate. I think Martin will get love because you can fit a bunch of guys around him, but I don't think it's going to get overly crazy where you have to fade him in tournaments. I don't look at him as a must play or a must fade. I think he's just a play that if he works with your roster, it makes sense. I don't love Brooklyn here. Like, I get the Noah Clowney play, but I'm with you. I think the ownership is going to lower with the Philly news, and that's kind of how I see it.
For Booker, like if there's no Booker, I mean, we saw Grayson Allen absolutely go off in the first half, had like 40. Gillespie would be a lot more in play. I think mid-tier builds would be strong there. Do you have any thoughts on D-Book, Jalen Green, two interesting Q tags?
Yeah, no, I don't know what to make with Jalen Green because he hasn't played in a while. Booker was hurt, missed the game, and then played the last game. They play tomorrow. They play in that Philly spot.
They play that Philly, yeah.
So maybe they lean Booker out here, which would change the slate because it would make, Booker is projected in as he should be right now. If he's out, we saw it the other day. Yeah, Grayson Allen absolutely nuked. I don't expect that, but he's certainly a better play with Booker out. You get Jordan Goodwin, who is really good, Colin Gillespie, Royce O'Neal. With Booker out, I don't think that Phoenix, I don't know if they become as popular as Philadelphia with the two guys from Philly out, but it'll be close because I think a lot of people will fill out their rosters with Phoenix guys, and it makes sense because they're not priced for Booker to be out.
Man, so I just looking at Twitter, this Arizona, I mean, it has 541 likes. It's an Arizona sports guy on 98.7, but because they have the back-to-back, this guy thinks Jalen Green is more likely to play tomorrow. Like he's not, if he plays today, he's not going to play tomorrow and vice versa. And they're making it sound, and I mean, obviously it's bigger favorites. It's more probably appealing to play him against Philly. He thinks that he'll probably be out. So if Booker's out, obviously if Booker's in and he's out, nothing changes. They're all priced like he's been out, but Booker's the big one, but it doesn't look like Jalen Green, according to this guy, probably plays. I would definitely be Dylan Brooks, Gillespie, Grayson Allen, like all of them at their price, I think would be very strong. The usage and touch time goes up so much for those guys. But I could really see. I don't love it.
I could see them playing Jalen Green here and sitting Booker, and obviously not playing Green tomorrow. Kind of a nice landing spot for Green in his first game back, especially if Booker's out, for him to have the ball more. He would mess up everything because I don't want to play him, but all of a sudden with him in, he's like their best offensive player. So it makes everyone else not look as good. He would really make it murky.
For sure. What about Nolan versus Martin?
Yeah. So I think that Martin on paper is probably the better play because of his price point and similar projections, but with more ownership, I am interested and don't hate saying that Traore might be the better play. I mean, he's only $300 more, projects very similarly. I think they look similar. I want the one that's lower owned.
Which I think will be that Traore guy. Do you think I'm not sure I can play them both together, both just point guard.
I'd probably rather play neither than both.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you. Let me quick check the correlation slider that SaberSim has on these two. Yeah, negative 0.05. Nothing crazy, but again, this is assuming like these Brooklyn guys are a lot more in play if Paul George and Embiid play. Like if the slate just stays exactly here, Claxton's fine, Traore's fine, Martin's fine. I still don't really love any of them. Like this, it's clearly these two are the worst games on the slate. This one the lowest total, but like we think at least one of PG and Embiid miss. If both of them miss this first game, last game, those are the two mainly, and then you can one off this game again, assuming Booker is in. All right, next game on the slates. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out. Who did I say hi to? It's going well. Good to see a kid. Definitely playing more Traore. There you go. From Power. Got to lean on Green. Me and Matt differed. Or my take was just, what was this guy's name? I just exited out of it. But he's on the radio, and he thinks that it's going to be tomorrow instead of today. Matt thinks it might be today instead of tomorrow, and they can sit Booker. Good thing is, at least it's only 30 minutes after lock. Hopefully we do get that news like 45 minutes or something, so we can have time to adjust before that Philly game.
Yeah, and to be clear, I have no idea. I'm just hypothesizing. So you're probably right. You know what I mean? I really don't know. No,
I just read it off of some guy. I definitely have no clue. I don't know Jalen Green personally. I don't know the coach personally. So once the news comes out, that's when I get it 100% of the time pretty much. All right, next game on the slates, Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics. Let me quick refresh. The odds, 2.5-point favorites are the Pistons, 223.5 total in this one, so not very high. Looking at the Detroit side, Ron Holland is questionable with an illness. Looking at the Boston side, no new injuries there. So pretty low total. Detroit solid defensively. I think Rio mentioned Boston hasn't been good as much, but mainly two healthy teams and efficient pricing on both sides. When that leads you to a DFS slate that there is a decent amount of injury news on, usually you don't touch this game as much. So yeah, I pretty much a full fade unless like Booker's and Embiid's and PG's and everyone's in. Yeah, maybe then I'll play some Cade because Maxi's not as good or something. Duran's been solid and the minutes are starting to creep back up, but I think I need everyone to be in really to get to any of this.
Yeah, same. I think the only two guys that I could see playing, like if we don't get guys out, are Jaylen Brown and Cade, like the two spend-up options, just because they're really good. And like any slate, they can both nuke, and it's a 4-game slate. And even though they're not in the best spot and they don't project amazing, still interested in those two guys. Again, maybe you get a game that plays out a little bit differently than expected. But other than that, and Cade is projected to be decently owned. And I think that will go down if we get the Philly guys out, because Maxey will just kind of replace him. Jaylen Brown not projected to get much love. Really tough spot against Detroit. I don't have much to add here. Like, I think there's contrarian plays. The centers, Duran and Kada, sure. But I think there's guys that are going to project better, guys that are cheaper, that are going to project better values. So it's tough to say I got any priorities from this game. If I were playing one lineup and entering it right now, I don't even, regardless of the injury news, I don't know if I'd have anyone from this game.
I wouldn't. I'd much rather, like how I rank it is like if everyone was in, then I'd much rather click a Brooklyn spot. Like Phoenix and these two teams are by far the least favorite. Even if PG and Embiid are stuff in, give me Nemhard over some of these guys. Like,
yeah, I'm with you.
Neesmith, even Jay Huff. Like, I'll just target that first game. I think it's a better game environment, even if everyone's in. This game's going to stay bad regardless of like any injury news, that unless we get a random Cade, Jaylen Brown or something. But yeah, this game's the least intriguing game on the slate for me. This last game, though, definitely cannot say that. It's very good right now. Golden State Warriors, Miami Heat. 5.5-point favorites are the Warriors, 238.5 total, the biggest on the slate. No Tyler Hero for Miami, so obviously a big bump to like Norm, Wiggins, Bam. Golden State side, no Melton. But I will say, like, of how popular they're projecting, I mean, that's the only injury news. Like, when you see this much Golden State popping, like, you expect it to be for, like, Steph.
Right.
And no, Steph's playing, Draymond's playing, Pods is playing. Like, yeah, Melton's a decent guy, but it's by no means something like that. So, if somehow all these guys are in earlier, I'd be a little more scared of this Golden State value. I really like Miami, though, without Hero.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good point. Like, and I thought the same thing when I saw all the Golden State ownership. Like, who is out for them that matters, because they're pulling so much ownership, and it's no one. They're just pulling ownership because it's a really good spot against Miami, and their price tags are good. But to your point, I don't think any of these guys are unfadable. Like, I'm seeing some places have Curry as the highest owned player on the slate, Butler top 5, Moody top 10, Draymond top 20.
Yeah.
So like all these guys are getting ownership, and I don't think any of them are must plays. I think Curry's price tag is good, but I'm actually really with you here. I think the Miami side looks better. I like Bam a ton. Really cheap tag for no Hero. I don't think it's a bad spot for him. Andrew Wiggins has always had revenge in his heart, has played really, really well whenever he's played Minnesota and Cleveland. I'm not playing him because of that, but I'm not playing him because of that. 5,800 in this spot. He's getting love, but I like him here. Jaime Jaquez, 5,400. I do like the Miami side more than the Golden State side. Norman Powell, probably the best option at 7K. He's getting ownership. The only thing I'll say is it's not like Miami isn't getting love. Like,
no, they are.
You know,
they are.
But the other point of that is Hero's out. So at least you've got a big injury there. It's hard to get away from this game. I am with you in the sense that if we get PG and Embiid out, I like Philly more than either of these two teams, but you're still not getting away from this game because you're playing it with Philly.
I just don't understand like why Steph and Jimmy are getting Steph, if he's one of the highest owned players, I just don't understand. Like I like Draymond. I rather Jimmy, and Jimmy's definitely going to get a whole lot of ownership. I think I like Draymond at ownership and price maybe the best. Like this feels like I like Wiggins a lot, like you said, and it feels like a Draymond spot too, where he might play a little more minutes. They're going to need his defense. I mean, it's just going to be an up and down game. Those are the games I also like to play Draymond. You get some stocks, you get some easy assists. But the thing with Steph, give me Maxey, give me Brown or Cade. Maybe that's where I like getting different, is maybe just playing one of those spends instead of Steph, who's going to be chalky, and then play more value in this game. But like Norm's going to be owned, but he'll be less. Bam, less. Wiggins. I prefer all of them more than this Golden State love.
That was kind of the point I was alluding to when I talked about like potentially playing Cade or Jaylen Brown. It was over.
Yeah, I like
Steph.
that.
And then like to your other point, you kind of took it a step farther. Like I would not play the Detroit or Boston value over like the Philly or this value. But I think when you start to get to the spend up options, that's where it gets interesting. Cause like, yeah, Curry is too cheap at 9,100, but I mean, I don't think salary is going to be that tight on this slate, and Cade projects better than Steph. What if you just get an outlier Cade game? Same to be said for Jaylen Brown. So like in any one lineup, I think you probably want Curry because he's cheaper and he projects about as well. But again, in tournaments, more than willing to get off him or any one of these Golden State guys for a similar priced guy in that range. The reason I mentioned Curry is because there's two guys right there that aren't going to get nearly as much love.
Yeah, and again, this ownership, it's definitely not going to be like I think Steph will be the highest in this game. Then it'll probably be Norm. And then right now, maybe it's like the Bam, Jimmy. It's probably looking like that, but I don't see it. Like flagship M&Me, this is like the large field contest, $15. The ownership's light on pretty much all these guys, and that's why I lowered it from Brooklyn. So I took ownership off of Brooklyn, and I put it more to Golden State, Miami. Now, with that being said, right when you get news, if you get news PG and Embiid are out, well, throw all that ownership out the window. Then it goes so much to Philly. Golden State, Miami dropped down a little bit, probably to the numbers more so we're looking at right now, and Brooklyn becomes pretty much irrelevant. So, I mean, this game's going to get ownership. Like, there's no other way to slice it, and there's no Q tags you're really waiting on, but you're just not going to get away from it regardless. It's mainly the Booker and then the first game with Embiid PG that can change the slate up. If he's in, like I'll just say my broad slate or just like recap for everything before you get out. You can do yours. But if PG and Embiid are out like you kind of think we are, you jam Philly, you jam the last game, and you can play a stud in Detroit and Boston. And then if those guys are in and Booker's in and everything's in, then I think the last game, I mean, it's really, really hard to ignore. And then the ownership's been really high. You can get off a Steph or spend there and go to a contrarian spend would be my favorite way. Like I'd still be fine with a Maxey, but I think the Pacers then would be the biggest bump. I think the Pacers, regardless, if Philly guys are out, you're playing more Phillies, so you easier like no Embiid in the paint and stuff. More Pacers guys as a run back in a good game environment. And then Pacers are going to be relatively low owned if all the injury news is there. You can see a Nemharder, Neesmith, Huff. The prices are all good in the mid-tier. They don't break the bank. So I don't even know if that made any sense. I'm just looking at the slate, trying to talk it out, and I hope it made something. But, yeah, you're going to need the news with Embiid and PG before you build any team for obvious reasons.
Yeah, totally. We're seeing this pretty much on the same exact page. The only other guy that I kind of mentioned in passing that I think is important is Moses Moody. 4K, going to get love. So I do think there are ways to, like, kind of flip the build-ish, even though the value guys in that game are going to get love, mostly the spend-ups or the mid-tier spend-ups are going to get love. So you could flip it. Maybe you play like a Moody and Gary Payton, thinking that the game gets a little bit wonky, blowout or whatever, and you play the spend-ups like Jaylen Brown and Cade. Like, that's not going to project as well, but trying to win tournaments here,
Yeah, like if Embiid and PG are in, we have no other value. Horford at 4-2, I think would be fine. You'd be fine with 20. Mm-hmm. Gary Payton, again, I just haven't talked about those guys as much because I'm expecting some more value to.
You're right.
Enough.
No, you're right, but I will say, like, even with more value opening up, I think those guys, mostly Payton and Moody, because Horford, I think he's fragile, depending on the game state, he's not going to play in blowouts, etc. But he's cheap enough to become in play. He would be like the first value guy I'd take out with other value. But I think like the Payton and especially Moody I think they still have they still have a role on this slate. Moody for sure, though, to your point. Yeah, definitely Moody. The other guys are fringy.
Yeah, I mean, if Payton can outscore the two Brooklyn guards, right? I guess that's what you're telling yourself, and it gets you spend ups, then for sure he'll be on the court. Just 17, 18 minutes, which is projected. Pods. Like, I'm good playing pods regardless of any injury news right there. So, no, this game's going to be good regardless, but the ownership will move around most. And we're just talking right now, missing shoot around on a back-to-back. Like, it makes more sense. It feels like PG and Embiid will miss. Boards will be updated, projections, ownership, all of that, of course, throughout the day.
I was going to say, as far as like a value pivot and like, Gary Payton or whoever it is, like, look no farther than the early 2-game slate right now that's going on, where a bunch of really popular value guys from both games, Isaiah Joe, 1%, going to probably be needed on the winner. So like, no one expects it, but that stuff happens all the time,
For sure. 4-game slate, you got to be a lot more cautious about ownership. And then if you do get off the board on one, like if you play Luka Garza, I just picked the most random name, you should be playing almost all chalk. But Steph becomes one of the best plays on the slate versus how we're talking about it, because you already did something so crazy that you don't really need to do. So just know all that. The roster. We have NBA education videos, Discord. You can talk about it a lot. Roster construction wise, we pride ourselves on, but more education for 5 sports. You can see hour and a half, 2 hours, 4 hours. The NFL one was. Even if you play NBA all the time, maybe just a little refresher can help out. But any final thoughts? Assuming no Embiid, give me Maxey over Curry for sure.
Yeah, I'm with that. I think you made a great point, man, because people want that stuff. I think it's important. It's process over plays, right? Like, it's not about the exact plays. It's about being able to make lineups yourself that you're confident in. And I think that's a great point. Like, if you're getting completely off the reservation with a guy like that, Garza, whoever it is, you don't need to get different anywhere else. I'm more apt to get a little bit different in a couple spots than get like off an island, but like they're different strokes for different folks, plenty of different ways to skin the cat, right? So like, certainly there are ways to win both ways. Just know how you're doing it, to your point.
For sure. And I do think it's a lot better to, instead of playing Steph, I'm playing Cade and then maybe one other pivot. Like, I don't think you should be playing 1% players on 4-game slates on average in NBA DFS. I think that'd be few and far between where you watch ball every day or it's your home team and this guy is just completely underprojected for a whole rotation. Like, you can find spots certain spots. It's tough. It's a lot harder to do nowadays, but I mean, that's the time you play a 1% guy. You just, it's not just going to be an X day today because you just think it is. And you play him when he's projected for like 8. So yeah, they'll stay kind of close to projection, try and give up some ownership. You do that. Like, it's hard to be too bad. Late swap, use Saber Sim, very powerful tool. Use the Stone over here at Shipping Nation. Like, have a community, get the news, Underdog, Fantasy Labs, whatever you have. Stay on top of that. Don't play dead players. Look about swapping and stuff. It's still profitable nowadays, but yeah, there's no doubt the gap has shrunk from years ago when we started. But hey, we always love it. I love what we do. I appreciate everyone hanging out with the like button. Again, helps us out a ton if you want to get to the nation. 5 days for $19, 1 day for $9. Don't forget National Championship College Football going on today. They already did a show. Look at that show. It's 3 of them today. College football, PGA First Look, and NBA. College football, the content there. Hop in the Discord. PGA's back. MMA's back this week. I think NASCAR is going to be back pretty soon. NBA, of course. NHL. We would love to have you. Final thoughts, Matt, before we get on out of here.
No, great show. I thought we broke it down well and added some in-depth process stuff. So yeah, always a good time doing the show with you, man.
Yeah, you as well. Internet was perfect. All right, everybody.
Means more than you'd ever know.
Good luck tonight. Enjoy the national championship. Enjoy some basketball. Enjoy some nice weather or some freezing weather, depending on what part of the country you're at. But that's going to do it for us. For Matt, I'm Title Tom. Good luck. Be safe. Peace.